Hey guys, what's up? It's KOKOStern with Concept Hunter, and today we have 3 platforming tower games, which means that you keep on platforming upwards and upwards and upwards and never really ends. And each one of these games is very, very different, so we have a lot to go through. And let's get immediately started with the first one that has a really weird name, and it's called I Think in a Minute or So I Will Explode. I'm gonna press C to start. It's a game by Hangman, and we have the sound by Jack Menhorn. And Step Up Nation Heroes. So this is, I guess, Soviet conditioning in a way, or Soviet science says that it's really, really harsh and really, really dark and gray. Everything is grayscale, there's no colors. And we're used to, in a platformer, that you're an experiment, that you're a subject in an experiment, and you have to do whatever it is that you're told, and onwards and some such. So, in this game, I'm just going to go immediately into standard mode, and you can see that you're basically a subject. And I can even show you a little nice thing that you see the collar beeping, and eventually my head will explode as we get the Department of Fun Learning, hero reached, whatever, before dallying away leader's precious time. So I'm basically an experiment, and I'm supposed to just keep on jumping, and that's pretty much what's happening. It's a standard platformer in the sense of being a tower, and the special thing is that you can switch up the polarity, and that way keep on platforming. So, with that said, the polarity switching is very, very simple in this game. And in a sense, I pretty much feel, right here, I have to jump while I make it, yes. It's pretty simple in a sense that you basically go and you just use one of the polarities, one of the different aspects of visibility, and only when you really need to do you switch it up. You don't really have to do it in most cases. And you just platform. Oh, I have to. I'll switch. Keep on going. And it doesn't really feel like a polarity switching game. There's nothing really skill-based or time-based that I really have to do properly in this case. It's just, you just keep going until you switch up, and that's about it. So, as the thing that's supposed to be the main part, as far as I can tell at least, the main mechanic in this game, it doesn't really play a lot. As you can see, I've been playing for about a minute now and I haven't even switched, and now I'm going to switch just because it's comfortable for me more so than anything else. But I don't really have to switch. In most cases, I'm just going to be fine. And the switching of the polarity doesn't really come into play in most cases, and doesn't really show itself in terms of the skill that's needed to play the game. One additional thing is the fact that I'm hanging on to something and then keep on going. It took me a while to learn that. I didn't really know that, and I kind of had to find it out because I didn't know how to. In this case, I would be completely stuck. I didn't know how to proceed until I found the part where I can just hang on top of something. And there you go, now I died. Department of Fun Learning, I managed this much, and that's about it. It says next test, but it's basically just keep on going. It's the same thing that we've done so far. So, this game is pretty nice. It has a nice concept of the polarity switching. It needs to emphasize more so on that. And with that, there's actually one more thing that I want to talk about. In platforming, I always talk about how you should be very comfortable with the controls. And they are very comfortable in terms of going left and right, but jumping is actually a little bit weird. You jump, you fall faster than you jump upwards. And that way, it can sometimes give you the wrong impression of how much can I go vertically, and apparently sometimes there's also bugs, but it just a little bit weird of how you can go vertically. You also get all kinds of milestones such as desperate, I just abandoned, or the first time that actually just stand in place, then says lazy or something like that. It's all kinds of nice little extra achievements. But the game itself is nice, but it can be worked on more so, especially with the part of the polarity. And the last thing that I want to say is that I don't really like the fact that it's grayscale. I get it. I get where it's coming from in this game, that it's supposedly Soviet conditioning and science and it's rough and all that, but it's not really. It's just kind of bland in a way when it's so grayscale in this fashion, and it doesn't really pop up. So that's the first game that we want to talk about. The second is actually called 7 Jumps, and has really loud, really interesting music, so I'm going to put that up. We're going to hear that, and basically I'm just going to jump and start it up. And we have 7 levels ahead of us, and it's a very unique tower-like game. There's 7 jumps and 7 levels until I get to the top, and as you can see, we have platforms just moving, and I need to jump through the gaps in order to reach to get up, and that's basically it. I just have to wait. I can go to the sides of the screen and get to the other side, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what this game shows us. But as you can see, if I make a mistake and I actually bang my head, it rubs its head a little bit. It's nice that I have a little helmet, but it takes about a second, and in that second you don't control your character, it's just standing there. I have two problems with it, and there are two very big problems. The first one is that in a platformer, you're supposed to have full control of your character, you're supposed to have very crisp controls like we talked about, and it's supposed to keep on flowing, precise, correct movement, fast-paced, going on, and when you stop it like that, when you just, the player just cannot move, it really hinders and stops the game. It stops the whole flow of the game, and it just feels like it's not. It just stops you. It simply stops you, and it's not a good mechanic in such a game, in any platformer. That's how I feel, at least. In addition to that, since it keeps moving, and since as you can see, there's now monsters, and there's going to be more and more monsters the further I go on. If you screw up once, you're basically going to reach the bottom, especially in the further on levels. Because if you screw up the platform, you're going to find the gaps, it's going to be a second, and then a monster will get you, and there's going to be another second, and you basically fall through all of the gaps and will reach pretty much the bottom. So one mistake and you're screwed up completely. And it comes from that part of making, of just being stopped. And you're not only stopped, but you also go backwards. You also fall through all the gaps, and you're completely screwed, and you have to completely start over. And it's such a big hindrance on this game that otherwise could be pretty fun, that I don't think that it really works in the sense. I get what the concept is, but I don't think that it really works here. In addition to that, as you can see already, if you actually take a look, there are the areas where it reaches a stop. There you go, you just could see that there. It converges, and then ends, and then goes backwards. And it's kind of weird. It's really weird, and I don't understand why the player actually has to see it. I get it that there's the path, and then you can move it, but the player doesn't really have to see that really mechanical element that should be off-screen for each and every one of these platforms. It is for some of them, you don't see it in every one of the platforms, but it's weird to actually see it like come into nothing, and also the way that it goes in and out and backwards, it also creates additional difficulty that's kind of it's not great difficulty. It's difficulty that comes from the fact that there you go, I mean, what the hell was I supposed to do there? I couldn't really find it. And the difficulty ramps up in the way that there's just more monsters. I didn't finish the game, I admit. I did not finish it, but I doubt there's anything more so. It was just difficult and frustrating, and it was so frustrating that I just had to stop at some point, because it was just, I screwed up at the top and I reached the bottom immediately like that. And that's why I didn't really like the concept. I understand it, I think there's room for improvement here, but it might be that the concept just isn't that great, and you need to try and do the same thing in a different fashion, because just stopping the action completely really hinders it and brings a lot of frustration for the player. So that's the second game that we had today. And the last one that I want to show you is called Super Mario Pow Pow Pow. And it is an incredibly polished game that has really wonderful music. And as you can see, obviously, it takes Super Mario, what we know and love, what everybody freaking knows, and puts it in a tower-based platformer that you just keep on going up. And as you can see, I really enjoyed it and finished it. And we're going to start just at the beginning. There are different characters to unlock, but as far as I can tell, it's just sprites. I unlocked Sonic because he's my favorite. These are just sprites. They don't actually have different behaviors and different controls. It's pretty much just the same. So I'm going to go here and pick up Mario. And with that, we're just going to start, as you can see, jump and run. And the movement is very simple. So, platforms, running, jumping. What do I really need to say anything more? Since it's Mario, you obviously have these things, and you have turtles, turtle shells, to just keep on spinning, and if they'll hit you, obviously I started with a big Mario, I'll go to smaller Mario and I can pick up a shroom in order to get bigger again. Very simple in a way, and you obviously have coins. There's this POW which will kill everybody and give me points. And that's the basics. That's the basics of how it works. Tower-based game, and as I finish this level, obviously I get coins and score, and there's a timer, and this tells me the level and how much feet I've actually reached as I go upwards, and it should end fairly soon, I hope. There you go, that's the goal, and we finished it, and I can go next level. I'm gonna quit so that we can go into a much more advanced level, so it can actually show you how it really progresses. I'm gonna go to level 7, just as an example, and start. And I want to show you the progression here. We started the first level. As I jumped up, the screen didn't really follow up, keep on going up. In this case, it will. And obviously it's Mario, so now I don't just jump through it, I destroy it. It's blocks that are breakable. So as you can see, the game is obviously moving upward, so I have less time and actually have to, I already screwed up. The difficulty really ramps up. It puts in all of the Mario elements that you're used to. There are obviously not only green Koopas, there are also turtles, there are also other things such as there are red ones. There you go, I died. There are red ones that actually follow you around. There's the ghosts that we know that if you look at them will just stand in place, and if you don't look at them they will follow you. I can actually try and find one of the other additional levels, such as let's go for just level 9. And you can see how it differs from time to time and tries to do different things. Here's an example. There's, again, simple everything, but there are also bullet bills, and you can see that the red ones will actually follow me around left and right wherever I go. It's very different, and the difficulty does ramp up, and as you wait longer, there's more stuff on the screen. There's different power-ups, such as what you saw, the star, which we're familiar with, and a rocket just sends you flying to the top as much as it can. I'm gonna drop here. The difficulty really ramps up. It's an interesting game. They've done so it's incredibly polished. There's great music here, and there's all kinds of, you can get the other sprites, you can play as Sonic and other heroes. And it's just really well done and really well polished. It's putting all the Mario elements that we're so used to and that we love in a tower-based game, and it's just done very wonderfully. You can see I just picked up a rocket, so I just fly up. And there's really just more and more great elements here. I enjoyed playing it to completion. There's a healthy amount of content here, and obviously endless modes that you could just keep on going forever. And I just really enjoyed it. It's really, really well done. Taking the Mario franchise that we know and love, putting it in a tower game, really great job. And we're going to give credit where credit is due to all 3 games. I think in a minute or so I Will Explode is by Hangman. 7 Jumps is by AX23W4, that's the name. And Super Mario Pow 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 is by D Sun. I really like all 3 of these games. They're very interesting, and obviously the first 2 have a couple of problems. This one is pretty good. The only problem that I found with this game that really bothered me is the fact that you can't jump on the turtles, because you expect to be able to jump on the turtles and kill them. That's basic Mario, or on any any enemy that you face here. You're supposed to be able to jump on them. It doesn't work here. If you touch anything, you die. But it makes sense in the way of a tower platformer. And that's it. So that's it for me, for Concept Hunter this time. I will very much appreciate it that you subscribe to my channel if you like my stuff. And that's it. Go play the games and let me know what you think. And I will see you guys next time. Laters.